Hello, Grand Strand. Welcome back to Talking About Food. This is Richard Florzak, the private chef to the stars. We talk about restaurants, food trucks, festivals, farmers markets. We interview some of our local chefs, local restaurant owners from time to time, some of my celebrity friends. And also, sometimes we interview chefs from different parts of the country. And I've got one in studio now. His name is Enoc Guardado. Sorry about that. I've said it a million times.
That's okay.
He worked in my restaurant. We worked together for about 10 years. And we know each other very, very well. We've had drop down, get in the dirty debates over food. And it seems like 9 times out of 10 we come out agreeing with each other, or he wins me over or I win him over. But he's been to the Grand Strand a number of times now. He's practically a local. We're going to start calling you a creek rat.
Ooh.
So
I don't know if I like that.
Anyway, do me a favor. Tell the listeners about your food background, where you went to school, what restaurants you worked at before you came to work with us at Flame Pizzeria.
Yeah, so I went to culinary school and it was a trade school back in Los Angeles called West Valley Occupational Center. It's maybe 2 miles down the road from where I live.
Did you consider that a good school?
I'd say so. I had a very good teacher.
Yeah.
I was lucky that I was part of the last class that she taught. She retired right after
Oh, yeah.
class. I took several courses, culinary and baking. My main goal was to go there for baking because that was my interest. I wanted to be a baker or a pastry chef, whichever one I could. I knew it was kind of hard to break into either of those fields back where I'm from.
But you did culinary as well as pastry.
Yes.
Yeah. And I mean, there are, just this sort of never-ending amount of culinary schools that pop up all over the place, and it's always hard to decipher, which ones are better. I mean, the top schools like Culinary Institute of America and Johnson & Wales, you're going to spend a gazillion dollars going there, but unless you have good instructors and good equipment, it really doesn't matter. So you thought highly of that school.
Oh yeah, no, absolutely. I have this discussion with people every now and then who I meet who are also in the field and have gone to culinary schools. And some people ask me as well. I want to get into cooking. Where should I go? Should I go to like CIA, the Cordon Bleu? And I tell them, only if you're willing to pay a $40,000 a year tuition to work a minimum wage job.
Yeah, we have. I don't know if I'm sure I told you about it. There's a trade school here called Horry Georgetown Technical College, and they have a culinary division called the International Culinary Institute. And I know the executive chef there, and I've been through the school a number of times, been to some of their dinners that they put on. They're phenomenal. You know what they do? They raise money throughout the year doing a farmer's market right at the school, and they sell breads and other items, as well as other types of fundraisers. But the students can then go on international trips. He was telling me, Chef Joe Bonaparte, that the last one that they went to was in Italy, where they did, they learned all kinds of things, pasta making and all kinds of stuff, but they would do truffle hunting. How cool is that? This is a local culinary institute at a trade school. So there's a lot to be said for that. So you believe that you got a decent culinary education. What did you do right after that when you got out of there?
So a big part of the education there wasn't just cooking and baking, but it was also how to get a job, how to operate a business. And one of the projects was to reach out to local restaurants and then ask if you could intern there. And I went around to about a dozen. Most of them said no. And then I landed at your place, Flame Pizzeria.
Yeah, we were desperate.
Yeah. I could tell. Yeah, I came in and the first thing that happened is I called. V picked up the phone, and I'm trying to explain that I'm part of the process. I need to interview a chef, and the one of the questions for the interview is, am I able to intern here? But if I remember correctly, I'm not sure V explained that to you.
V was one of the servers there.
I'm not sure she explained it to you very well. You got on the phone and you said, yeah, I'll do an interview with you. I come in. You were under the impression that was like an interview for a newspaper or some sort of outlet.
Yeah.
Like, oh no, I'm a student down the street. So I'm asking you these questions. You had no prep cook that day, so you're just sort of running back and forth, and then you're answering my questions.
Go figure. I didn't have a prep cook that day. Yeah.
And
the romantic life of owning a restaurant. Go ahead.
I feel like you were so disappointed during that entire conversation. You thought it's like, this guy's gonna write me up in a newspaper and all this sort of stuff. But I could see the crestfallen look in your face, and then I got to the question: if possible, would I be able to intern here? And your eyes just lit up. Oh yeah,
yeah. How about now?
When could you start? Yeah, as soon as you hear free labor, it's like, yeah.
Just to jump forward just for a second, once you worked there, and you worked every position in that restaurant, including head manager, you then knew, you learned very quickly what kind of turnover there is in a restaurant.
Oh yeah, it's like a revolving door.
Yeah, but before me, you worked in other places, didn't you? Before Flame Pizzeria?
I worked at, you mean other food places?
Yeah.
No, after Flame.
Oh, it was after Flame.
Yeah. I worked with you for about a year, I think.
That's right.
And then I went off, and the first place I worked at after that, what was it called? It was like a kosher bakery cafe, Rollidin's Bakery.
Yeah.
In Reseda.
Was it good?
Not really.
The reason why I'm laughing so much is because I've got a position that I take here on talking about food. I'm not going to talk bad about any place locally here, because I all I do is talk about food on the Grand Strand, and I'm just not going. So when I hear you say, not really, I have to be honest. It's a bit refreshing to hear that. Yeah,
I mean, it wasn't.
Yeah. So they were not a good bakery.
No, they were good.
I don't know if the listeners can hear the lightning and thunder. That may be, they're coming after you, I think. Anyway, go ahead.
They were good. The guy that I worked under directly was a head pastry chef there. He worked at a little place, a little local chain called Porto's. Absolutely love their stuff there.
Yeah, they've got excellent pastry there.
Oh, but you can bet that got picked up.
I'm sure listeners heard that, but I was serious. I really meant that. They are good. So, okay, so you worked there for how long?
A week.
Why only a week?
Oh, I got fired.
Why?
So, part of the main reason I got brought on was to be the kind of the health food guy. Just because I had a lot of experience.
That's boring already.
I had a lot of experience doing vegan cooking for vegan friends that we had at the time.
Dear Lord.
Not that they are not my friends anymore, is that they were only vegan at that time.
Yeah.
But I told that to the owner there, and his eyes lit up, because both his wife and his daughter were big into all sorts of other, like paleo, baking, and what other fads were going on at the time. So I come in, and it was very difficult to get what I needed, because it's a kosher bakery, which means you can't just buy something and bring it into the bakery. You have to go through them, because they need to make sure that the products are kosher, parv. So when I need to bake some paleo bread, what was it? Spelt bread. Yeah. I'd have to ask for spelt, because they're not going to carry spelt. And the guy would, I'll get around to it.
Yeah.
Days go by, I still can't do this. And then he would complain about how I didn't do anything. It's like, okay, well, if I can't do what you hired me to do, I'll just help the other guys. And that's what I started to do. So There was another pastry chef there and another baker, and I would just help them with their tasks. Fast forward to what got me fired. I was helping the baker with making some sesame seed like dinner rolls.
Yeah.
So part of the process is once we shape the rolls, we lay them out on the sheet pan and spray them some water, and then sprinkle a little bit of sesame seeds on top so the water helps them stick to the bun. Then you put them in the speed racks and you bake them in the oven. The sesame seeds came out of a 5 to 10 gallon drum.
Yeah.
So I would go in, scoop out a bowl of sesame seeds, and I'd go about my business, spraying the water, sprinkling the sesame seeds. The owner came by, and he, like rage in his eyes, "You're using too many sesame seeds."
Yeah.
And he's got both hands on his table, and he's just staring at me like this.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I apologize. Okay, I'm using too many sesame seeds. I'll dial it back. And I pinch a few more out.
Yeah.
I try to go very light this time.
I'm so nervous right now.
I sprinkle it on, and I'm looking for feedback.
Yeah.
I'm looking him in the eye, and he just still seems mad.
Right.
So I keep going. I feel like I'm 20 times slower now because
He's watching.
yeah, and he's counting in sesame seeds.
Yeah.
I get to a point where it just upsets me, and I look at him and said, "Okay, I got it." He did not like that.
Was that the coup de grace?
He storms into his office and yells for the pastry chef.
Yeah.
And the pastry chef goes inside, and they talk for about 10 minutes, and he comes back outside. He's like,
I have this image like you hear all this mumbling going on, and you just keep hearing sesame seeds. So what happens?
"Oh, the pastry chef comes out and he looks at me and says, yeah, sorry, you're fired.
Over sesame seeds.
Used too many of them.
Man,
Drove the place out of business."
it's like sesame seeds, I guess, are like gold. I never knew that.
The thing that gets me is that it's like I told you, it's a 5 to 10 gallon bucket, enormous bucket.
Would you have any idea, venture a guess, how much that cost?
The bucket itself? I don't know. I would
Because
assume,
I know if I have to buy sesame seeds, which is probably twice in my lifetime.
Yes.
You know, I buy the standard, what is it, 3.5 ounce, herb.
Little jar.
Yeah.
Plastic jar. Yeah.
Right. And I don't know, $3-4.
Yeah. I'd assume a 5 to, I imagine the drum it comes in is more expensive than sesame seeds themselves.
Yeah.
I'd give it maybe $72.
Yeah. And that would last how long?
Generations.
But he had a thing about sesame seeds.
Yeah, and I was really stuck on that because I think I was trying to do the math in my head, like how much would each of these sesame seeds cost that I'm wasting him, and there would be so many zeros after the decimal point. I could even process it, but it was enough to upset him, and I lost my job because of that.
Where'd you go from there?
Ended up at it's another small local chain in Southern California called Maria's Italian Kitchen.
Yeah.
They ran restaurants around Southern California, but everything was baked out of a central kitchen, baked and cooked, and that's where I worked.
Oh, okay. So not actually in one of the restaurants.
No, central kitchen.
And was it after that you ended up coming back to Flame Pizzeria?
No, I had another stop after that.
Yeah.
So at Maria's, I was a baker there. There's one other baker, and we would get all the desserts ready every morning to get put on on all the vans headed to all the restaurant locations.
Yeah.
I felt like I was doing well there for a bit. I was doing what I liked. What I wanted to do was baking, and not like health food baking or getting yelled at for wasting sesame seeds. I was just able to focus on baking and do it in a non-distracted environment and just knock them out and then go.
Yeah, and you probably wanted some creative freedom as well.
Yeah, I wasn't getting that there.
Yeah, forget it.
Yeah, that's the next stop.
Yeah, go ahead.
So-
go to the next one.
This was Joe's Cafe in Granada Hills.
Oh, I remember that place. Yeah.
Yeah, there I was hired as the pastry chef.
Oh, you were the pastry chef
was the
there.
pastry chef
You
there.
have creative freedom there.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, a lot. There were some, being a restaurant. There are some key staples. So you have to make sure that they had their devil's food cake. You have to make sure that they had their carrot cake, and they're the restaurant recipes, and you just stuck to those and did those. But anything else was up to you. Which was nice because it was even important for them to have the desserts on the menu. They'll give you a dessert menu. It's like, these are our key desserts, but the servers, I would have to tell them every day, like, what are the things that I'm baking. So I could get pretty off the wall with it. For the mornings, I do like your standard stuff like cookies, muffins, scones, etc. And I would just, at first, I was so into it. I would create my own recipe books. I'm like, oh yeah, I'm going to try this and this and this and this. But the thing that I didn't realize when I started that job was that they serve pasta. They serve fresh pasta, and they expected the pastry chef to make the pasta. And pasta ended up being 90% of my time there.
Yeah.
I would try so hard just to get all the pasta ready for the dinner service, and then I could work on my desserts, and then I'd have maybe an hour to.
Yeah.
So it got to a point where I'm so low on time to be able to even bake things that I'm just picking things at random. I'm looking in the corner of my eyes. Butterscotch chips, coconut flakes. Okay, that's a muffin. Just toss it together. Some of those became real hits.
Yeah.
Surprised me.
Isn't it funny how that happens?
I still have some of those recipes, and I refer to them all the time.
Yeah. You were referred to as an artist back then, even though the customers didn't know you just threw that stuff together.
Yeah, I didn't let them refer to me by my first name after that.
So is it then you end up back at Flame?
Yeah. So I left there. I started coming back to Flame as a customer, is what happened.
Yeah.
And then we would get to talking, and you needed help, and
as always,
and I came back as an employee.
Yeah,
and it was I started off like I did my old position, where mostly a cook, dishwashing, bus boy, like all those back of the house kind of positions.
Everything except server.
Absolutely refused to ever.
Why is that?
I'm not a people person.
You work in a restaurant and not a people person. Yeah, you needed to be back of the house. Unfortunately, with Flame, the back of the house, half of the back of the house was in the middle of the house because the oven and prep station, salad station, first course station was all centrally located in the center of the dining room.
Unfortunately.
Yeah.
Yeah. The job that I did before I got into culinary school and started cooking and baking, I was a bank teller. And I was processing like 100 people a day, face to face, small talk, all that sort of stuff. And I just got sick of it.
Yeah.
And I was thinking about what career would I do? And I always loved baking. So I thought to myself, I'm going to get a job where I can just work in a kitchen and not have to interact with anybody or do any of the niceties that I can't stand. But I ended up at your place, where I wasn't in the back of a kitchen minding my own business. I worked in an island where I was like being a zoo animal. People would just come up and watch me. And it was the most aggravating.
Yeah, yeah. Well, wasn't that bad until they started asking you questions.
Oh yeah, that's something that I never really understood. If you see somebody working, like I have tickets like up to my elbow, and I'm desperately trying to get these salads and these appetizers ready, and people are just talking to me, just hey. So I sorry, I don't have time.
Yeah. All right, I'll take it from here. Chef Enoc ended up doing every single position in that restaurant. And right before I moved to the Grand Strand, I was offered a position back in the private chef world working for the most powerful man in the music business. He's the CEO of Universal Music Group. And they offered me enough money that I applied for the job and I got it. But I wasn't even going to take it unless Enoc would take over managing Flame Pizzeria Monday through Friday while I was working my full-time job. And then I would take over Flame on the weekend. And of probably 100 plus employees that came through that restaurant, he is the only one, the one and only person that I trusted 100%. And I knew that when I left the restaurant to him, it was in good hands. Let's switch it up a little, because you and I have had some pretty, I wouldn't say heated, intense, I guess, debates on food. Is cooking an art?
No.
Can you expound on that a bit?
No. Yeah, well...
You know what? I'll tell you. Maybe I shouldn't interrupt, but I will anyway.
Okay.
I will reiterate that my oldest brother is a world-renowned artist. And I always like to say, not the kind of art that you climb up on a ladder and dump it on a canvas. This is true art along the lines of the old masters. He believes it is an art form, and I don't. I don't have the intellectual capacity to argue that. He does, and does a great job of it. And you know what? I can be convinced of that. It's not something I'm trying to hold out on, but I just, in my gut, that's all I could say is that it's not. How do you feel about that?
I mean, I agree with your gut feeling. It's something, it's a conversation that I've had with multiple people many times. It's a common thing that you see in different fields where somebody likes to say what they do is an art. I feel like, as most things, it comes from a place of insecurity. Maybe these people aren't happy that what they're doing is just cooking. They want to elevate it to make it seem like it's something more important than it is. Just being a chef or just being a cook isn't enough for some people. They need to say that it's an art form because it helps them, I don't know, feel better about themselves. But when I look at food, I don't see art. I just see food.
Yeah.
I think when I see food trying to be art, it's ridiculous. It's ostentatious. It's like a sham.
Yeah. I've often said, I use this phrase a lot about walking a thin line. Let's see if you agree that I think the best chefs walk a thin line where on one side they could easily go over the top and just come across as pompous. You know, I often talk about, hand somebody a squirt bottle with raspberry sauce in it, and all of a sudden they're a modern artist. Mm-hmm. And that gets drizzled over everything. I see it that way also with balsamic glaze.
Yeah.
It's like used everywhere, and it's squirted. And I think I've said on the show before, I remember a chef instructor I worked under, and he told me personally one time, he said, often what separates a good chef from a great chef is not what you put on the plate, but what you leave off. It seems to me that it's so much easier for chefs to try to elevate the dish by just adding so many extra things on it that, in my opinion, often don't belong. Am I onto something there?
I understand the importance of presentation.
It's paramount without a doubt.
Yeah, there's that whole sitting like you saying you eat with your eyes.
Yeah,
and it's true. But it can get to a point where just doing too much, or when you're doing too little, you're doing too much sometimes too. You have like a plate where it's got like a tiny piece of chicken and then some dots of whatever green sauce they have. And what are you doing?
Yeah.
I just want to eat.
Yeah.
But I think the issue doesn't just only come from the chef end. It's also there's enabling coming from the customer end. You have a whole generation now of people who like to consider themselves foodies, and I guess when you turn something into a hobby, you keep trying to search for new heights, and eventually eating food becomes more than just nourishment or pleasure. It becomes you're seeking an experience.
Yeah. Which I don't have a problem with experience. What I have a problem with is when it turns into a show. From a private chef point of view, and I used to tell this to other private chefs, I feel that it was my job to put out obviously great food each night to my client, but it was not my job every night to make a statement. It should look very appealing, but I shouldn't have been trying to sell them a work of art. You agree?
Yeah. At that point, are you doing it more for them or are you doing it for yourself?
Exactly.
Yeah.
And like you said earlier about it's not just the chef, it's the customer now as well. It's almost to me, and this was in Los Angeles. I don't see it that much here, although I do see some things coming onto the scene that I remember happened in Los Angeles 15 years ago. One of them is microgreens. Microgreens, like they did 15 years ago in Los Angeles, they're on everything now. And personally, I don't think it elevates the dish at all. I guess it can, depending on what kind of microgreen they use. If it's a, I did something recently. It was a beet Napoleon, right? Which were these poached beets. They were sliced. They had this herb cheese in between, and when you sliced them, they had all these layers. And I managed to get some beet microgreens because I think it added to the dish. It was complimentary of it. But it seems to me that whenever I see it, it's just sort of a garnish on top. And I can never understand why it's on there other than to try to elevate it to something more.
That's a pet peeve of mine. The idea of a garnish existing just to be a garnish. I tend to, my whole criticism or diatribe just now about elevating food to an art form, I think I lend myself more towards a rustic style of cooking and baking. I like things that just taste good. They don't need to look too good. I like them when they have these imperfections, these flaws. But if you move too much in the other direction, it's important to have some presentation. I know some people love it when I get a little fancy with the pies. Like I do some of the embellishments and decorations with the crust and do some glazes with the lattices. But if you move too much in the other direction, then you're just kind of doing things for the sake of doing things.
And that's what I mean by walking that thin line.
Mm-hmm.
It's very easy to cross that. You and I as chefs, we come up with the presentation, what we think works, what we think is pleasing to the eye. And it's very easy to add one more thing. And then, you know what, let's add this. And in a very short period of time, it's just over the top. Isn't it almost like an emperor's new clothes kind of situation sometimes when you go to a restaurant and you're spending, $100 a plate and you come and there's like 2-3 tiny little dots of food on the plate, and we're supposed to ooh and ah about it because it was written up in some magazine somewhere.
Yeah, there's I guess part of what I was saying before of the whole new foodie culture.
What does foodie mean? I never really got a definition of that.
That's a good question. I assume just but in the most basic sense, you like to eat. I like to eat.
I eat every day.
Yeah, me too. But to be a foodie, I guess that means you're seeking out food experiences.
Most often when I hear somebody's a foodie, it's like they've acquired this badge somehow. I don't just go to a restaurant. I'm a foodie.
Mm-hmm. Oh, you didn't know about the badge?
No.
Yeah, I got one.
Shut up.
They're trying to elevate something that's very simple food into something that's art. Going back to what we were saying.
From the quote foodie side of it.
Correct.
From the customer side of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's when you start to see people eating balloons and bubbles and smokes on their plate. And I don't understand it from a food perspective, but I see it as if people are going to a magic show. It's like, oh, okay, that's it's fun for them. That's what they're into. And I guess that's kind of what it means to be a foodie, or a certain tier of foodie.
What was that phrase that you said right before we came on the air?
It's not always about how good the food is. It's about how good people think the food is.
Boy, we could do a deep dive into just that statement maybe next time. You had an interesting take and relationship with servers when you were the manager of the restaurant. Why don't you tell us about that? Servers can make or break a restaurant.
Absolutely.
Yeah. But you had a slightly different take on their job.
Working back of the house, I already sort of, you develop this kind of animosity, especially when you see, it's weird. It's like one of the only fields where you put all this work making something, you put it on a plate, and then somebody just takes it from point A to point B, and then they make 5 times what you do by the end of the night. Yeah. And it's something about my brain just couldn't process that. And it grew. I just grew to have this, to use the word again, animosity towards servers. Though I've made a lot of friends in the restaurant industry, a lot of them being servers. One of them in particular, Monique, absolutely excellent. She could run the place by herself.
Just so you know what Enoc is talking about and what high quality she was. We typically had 3 servers on the weekend, and there were times because of the turnover and people not showing up, she would do the entire front of the house by herself and not make a mistake. Go ahead.
And then even when she would tip out, let's say the dishwasher, the busboy, the host, she was extremely generous.
And what that means for the people listening that don't know, the servers are helped by dishwashers, by bus people. So it was up to the server at the end of the night to give a portion of their tips to the dishwasher and to the bus people. And it was it was their discretion. And I would often hear dishwashers and bus people grumbling because some of the servers were not as generous as the others. Anyway, go ahead.
Yeah, and it's not just the tipping out. She also was just she would compliment your work ethic, the quality that you're putting into what you're doing if you're doing a good job. Whereas with most of the other servers I worked with, I never expected to be tipped out by Monique, but I never resented her making money off what I was doing, to what I was saying earlier. But with the other ones, I did, because I didn't hear any praise, or at the end of the night, I just hear complaints like, oh, I didn't make enough money, I didn't do this, I didn't do that. Meanwhile, I'm sitting there just collecting the paycheck that I agreed to, but I'm not making all that extra money
that they do, taking plates and cups point A to point B. I understand that they interact with the customers and build rapport. And well, isn't that a difficult thing to do?
It is for me.
No, but I just mean in general. You're saying you don't think that they deserve to make what they did, compared to you busting your rear end at the back of the house making a third of what they do.
Yeah.
Isn't it a hard job for them?
No.
Could you expound on that?
Maybe sometimes the plates get heavy.
Wow.
So I grew up working for my dad, who was a general contractor, and he would have me do everything. We could be remodeling a bathroom. We could be tearing down a fence. We could be laying tile. We could be repaving a driveway. And I understood, as a kid, I in my head, I understood, you should be paid commensurate to the amount of labor you're putting in. And then moving into the culinary industry, I'm running back and forth, trying to get all this food prepped, ready for service, and then during service, I'm keeping up with all these orders, and I'm making appetizers and pizzas and salads, and I'm trying to get these out to hungry customers before a traffic jam happens, and then everybody's upset. But somebody will just come and take my work and then give it to somebody else and get all the credit for it. And something that would drive me crazy too, which I should have been better at controlling, is just the customer would thank the server for the food. I made that, not them.
Yeah. So I guess you stand by what you said starting off this conversation.
Well, it kind of got worse once I started managing the place.
Why?
Because then I dealt with the actual responsibilities and people aspect of it, where I'm not just dealing with somebody picking up a plate and then taking it to a table. I'm dealing with scheduling. One of the biggest issues with hiring and managing servers in the Los Angeles area was the fact that almost everybody wanted to be an actor and actress.
That's right.
And
there's a funny line for the listeners here in the Grand Strand that went around Los Angeles because it seemed like everybody and their brother wanted to be an actor. And when you would ask somebody, what do you do? Oh, I'm an actor. The next question was, what restaurant do you work in? Yeah.
The thing is, that's their primary goal. So when you employ them as a server, you give them a schedule, that's secondary to them. And I've dealt with a lot of situations where somebody had the chance to be an extra in a commercial for hemorrhoid cream or something, so they can't come in. And then you need to ask everybody in your phone, like, hey, can you make it tonight? Hey, can you make it tonight?
Yeah.
Hey, can you make it? And sometimes you're lucky, sometimes you're not.
Yeah.
So part of the like I said, it just got worse once I became a manager because I realized how flaky some of them were. The other thing too is like you deal with. It's not like you're hiring scientists or engineers.
You've been here you visited the Grand Strand about 4 or 5 times now since I've lived here. Do you notice a difference in the servers here in restaurants?
Oh yeah, just they're so much nicer.
Let me ask you this question and just be honest. I feel, because my gut response to that when somebody asked me was, yeah, they seem a lot nicer. Most servers in Los Angeles, where restaurants I would go to, they seemed nice as well. But here they seem genuine.
Yeah, that's how I describe it. Back in LA, it's more of like you kind of encounter this with most people there. There's like a fake nice.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Yeah. I can't put my finger on it, but that's how I feel.
Yeah, they'll smile and they say hello, and then they'll say how they will like, hey, yeah, let's go do this thing, and then you'll never hear from them again, kind of thing. That's the experience with LA people in general, but yeah. LA servers, it's smile, hi, welcome, but hurry up with what you're doing.
Right, kind of plastic.
Yeah, make sure you tip me well.
Yeah. How do you like the food here in the Grand Strand?
It's been fantastic.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I've loved everything I've had so far.
And some of the places we've been to, Judy Boone's.
Oh, yeah.
How about, I wanted to talk about this last show, and I never got around to it, was I tend to take family and friends when they come to Wicked Tuna. They seem to still like the sushi craze. I'm done with it. Not that it isn't good, and the sushi at Wicked Tuna is good, but it's got a great view. It's close to my home. I had their burger last week, and it was excellent.
Yeah.
And then you and I had it. It was good, wasn't it?
One of the best I've ever had.
Wow,
yeah.
Wicked Tuna, one of the best he's ever had. Other restaurants here. What else did we hit? You seem to like everything. We won't talk about the one we went to yesterday. I was so upset at that. The listeners are going to want to know what it is. But and I've been there a number of times. I wouldn't have taken you there if I didn't think it was good. It was a bad experience. That's all it was.
Yeah.
We could go back today or tomorrow, whatever, and it would be would be much better. What else did we have?
Just had pizza.
Oh yeah, Danny's.
Yeah,
it's good, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have it every time I come here, and it's great.
Yeah, I got a couple more for you there. I ask every chef that comes on the show, what dish do you like that you would be embarrassed for other chefs to know you eat?
So you might feel some disgust at this one. I love this as a kid. And when I think about it now, my mouth waters, but with my adult brain, I just am like, oh, that's disgusting. So as a kid, I used to like to get a bag of hot Cheetos.
Yeah.
And then pour some lime juice in there.
Uh-huh.
And this is before hot Cheeto lime flavor came out. So I feel like I'm owed some money my way. And then I would crush it into a ball, like while it's still in the bag.
And the lime juice would help it solidify.
Yeah, it would turn into this like soggy ball of hot Cheeto.
And how big would that ball be?
The size of your fist.
Like a baseball.
Yeah, like a softball.
Oh wow,
yeah.
even bigger.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I would just eat it. I would take bites out of it like a rice bowl. My mouth's watering right now thinking about it.
How long would it take you? First of all, how did you come up with that?
I've always been a creative genius.
Is it something? Is that something you thought about? You know, like, oh, I think it would be cool if I went and bought a bag of this, or do you like you had it at your house and you figured, oh, I'll squeeze some lime juice in there?
I don't know. It was an epiphany. I just had it one day because I would always pour the lime juice into my hot Cheeto bag and then eat out of the hot Cheeto bag like that. But the lime juice pools to the bottom, and then the bottom ones are really soggy, and the top ones are kind of dry. And I just thought to myself, like, maybe I'll just mash it all together, and it'll all be the equal consistency of mushiness to dryness.
Yeah,
and it was.
Yeah,
and it was delicious.
When's the last time you did that?
Like a decade.
Oh, that long
ago. I don't do it out of shame.
Yeah, well, you need to treat yourself. It's been 10 years.
You're right. And it's been an anniversary, so I should.
Yeah. So like I said, you've been here about 4 or 5 times. Will you come back again?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Next year.
Yeah. Very good. That is Enoc Guardado. He is a former chef in Los Angeles who has moved on to his true love, which is, you explain what it is. What do you do?
I am currently a systems engineer. I've always loved tech. It was one of the options that I was going to go for when I went to the culinary path. And I took the long route, and now I'm back to doing systems where I work on enterprise servers and data centers and cloud technology. And I'm just, it's the stuff that I play with at home. So yeah, it's been great.
Yeah, that's terrific. Enoc Guardado, thanks so much for coming in. I really, really appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
And that's just about going to wrap up episode 36. Talked about a few restaurants here. Judy Boone's, we mentioned again. That's a no-brainer. Great Southern food, buffet style. Wicked Tuna. Wicked Tuna is cool for their burgers and for their sushi. I was very surprised with that burger. The bartender had said he believes it's the best in the Grand Strand, so I had it twice. It's quite good. And, people are often a little bit reluctant to eat in some of the restaurants along the Marsh Walk. They feel that it may be a bit touristy. I haven't had that experience. I mean, there's going to be some things on the menu, but like I said, Wicked Tuna does some nice sushi and a great burger. Danny's for pizza. Been there many, many times. Matter of fact, Danny, the owner, he has agreed to come on the show next month. We got to get Tommy, the chef over at Judy Boone's, on the show. We had the general manager on one time, but I'd love to pick Judy Boone's chef, Tommy. And a special thanks to Chef Enoc Guardado, also known as the Hatchet Man. should have talked about that when he was here. He got the nickname the Hatchet Man because when he moved into the managerial position at Flame Pizzeria in Los Angeles, I had said to him, he just overheard me saying at one time that one of the hardest things for me to do in the restaurant business is to fire somebody. I mean, I had people that literally stole right in front of my face, and I still had a hard time firing people. I just didn't like the confrontation, and Enoc overheard me, and he said, I'll take on that responsibility. And it didn't bother him a bit. He could fire somebody while he was eating his turkey sandwich. So once again, thanks to Enoc Guardado. And remember, folks, you folks that cook at home, you got a hard job. I've often said the only difference between you, the home cook, and me, the private chef, is I got a paycheck at the end of the week. So always remember, you are your family's private chef. Thanks for listening.